Hi, this is Billie Beene here with another World News Update, episode 82, today's date, November 5, 2023. We'll cover U.S. military deploying from Kentucky. Hamas equals the shadow, U.S. and Israel. Some new info. And Benjamin Netanyahu plus Zelensky say no to JB. And the Russia, I believe their next move is to finish taking Ukraine border to border. Some of my sources are God in the Bible Patriot subscriber. Oh, have you heard the song by Johnny Cash? It's going by the book. The prophets and Jesus talked about it. John took a look. It's all about wars and rumors of wars. I'll link that song for you. Some of my sources are, in addition to the great song by Johnny Cash, Benjamin Fulford, Underground Patriot, Pastor Paul Begley, and Mike from Around the World, Doug Hackman, Hal Turner, War News 24/7, Scott Ritter, Lieutenant Scott Bennett. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, I'll begin with the controversial information that, Hamas, who are they being directed by now? Would it be the shadow U.S. and the shadow Israel? I believe so. So, what do we know? This is what we know. In 2007, Doug Hackman, he's a Christian independent journalist, corroborated by an interview and information I'll link for you to Pastor Paul Begley's latest show with Mike from Around the World. So in 2007, I believe it was in Wisconsin, Doug and two other reporters put on camo and they went through the woods and they discovered a camp. And it was being directed by the shadow CIA. And who were they training? Hamas. That's in the U.S. in 2007. Now, the shadow FBI caught up with them before they could get back to their cars, took their cameras and pictures. And a couple of weeks later, Doug was coming out of his office, did his remote for his car, and his car exploded. So the shadow CIA and the shadow FBI, they take it seriously when individuals try to find out what is the truth. Now, it's believed by many sources that Hamas was begun in the 70s, and we had that information from House of Representatives, part of the U.S. Congress, Dr. Ron Paul, Republican from Texas, who stood up on the floor of the House of Representatives in 2009 and made a public statement that it was the shadow U.S. and the shadow Israel who put together Hamas, brought them to the U.S., did the training, and in the 70s, put them together, funded them, trained them in the U.S., and these are like Arab mercenaries that make up this group. Who controls them today? I submit to you, it's still the same group. The shadow deep state inside the U.S. and the shadow deep state inside Israel. So that's going on. Sun Tzu, Art of War, identify who is your enemy. So that's going on. And now, from the U.S., so we have the U.S., Florida, Texas, California, Texas, Florida, Kentucky. Okay. So, we are sending a lot of vessels and troops out of Kentucky, and they are to deploy November 6 to 8, plus the Dixmude, which is an amphibious ship that can also provide medical, and that's going to the U.S., plus the USS Herschel Williams, also another similar ship with the Dixmude, and the 101st Air Assault Airborne Troops say the noise is going to be up November 6 to 8 at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, as the Screaming Eagles are deployed. And the Dixmude is also carries helicopters, it's med, and it's going to be stationed off of the coast of Gaza. And we have the Herschel Williams is an expeditionary sea base. It's mobile. It also has space for set up for helicopters, for evac and med. It's also a command and control ship. And yeah, so out of the Fort Campbell, Kentucky, the Army Screaming Eagles are getting ready to deploy November 6 to 8, and along with the Dixmude and the Herschel Williams. So that's going on. And now we have this. We have, yeah. So, Blinken went to, I think, Israel, and now he's going to the Middle East, but he's getting a very cold reception. So we have the JB. We know that's an actor wearing a mask, has zero political authority from We the People, but is controlled by the deep state handlers. And they've sent representatives out to Israel and also to Ukraine. Zelensky. And they're saying to both of them, tap it back, ceasefire, stop. And Zelensky says no. And the Benjamin Netanyahu double also says no. But we know these are also being manipulated by different factions of the deep state. So the U.S., without power in its political structure, yeah, as that's happening. And now we have this. Oh, yeah. So now we have Israel, we've got Gaza, and we know October 7 in the U.S., most likely October 8 in Israel, is when the Hamas attack took place. Now, 6 months before this attack happened, and we understand the deep state had been planning it with the shadow U.S. and the shadow Israel for about 2 years. And 6 months before, they shifted all the Israeli military to this side of Israel and took the guns away from the Israeli citizens who lived along the border. Then they expedited, and they also controlled the mainstream media and also the intel organizations. Now, it's my understanding now that there are some white hats who are in the MI6 and Mossad and the CIA and FBI. So we do have some working with the white hats, President Trump, Chairman Xi, President Putin, and other world leaders who are intent on destroying once and for all the deep state, Satan-worshipping, illegal leaders, and many of whom who are Nephilim, not human. So, I mean, that's true. That's who we're fighting. But at any rate, Scott Ritter, a retired Marine military analyst, brings this new information out. So I had already established that the Benjamin Netanyahu double had brought about a 7-hour delay. Now, he was surrounded by mercenaries, and during this 7-hour delay, they assassinated certain Israeli government leaders and certain leaders of the Israeli military who they knew would not go along with a stand down. So that took place with the mercenaries surrounding the Benjamin Netanyahu double. But the good thing is that the Israeli people and the Israeli military had been on the cusp of a coup just before this incident happened, and now they are more intent than ever. So that's going on. The new information from Scott Ritter is, and for at least 5 years before this happened, this was a long-term plan. The Israeli military had cut way back on their training and had allowed their Israeli military to degrade in terms of training, physical training and mental training. Okay. So after the 7 hours, then the Israeli military comes out, and they were the shadow Israeli military leaders had selected the least and youngest trained Israeli soldiers to put on this front line with Hamas, who had no combat experience. They see the Hamas killing Israeli citizens in a panic. They just began shooting, and that was their order, fire. And so they accidentally killed Hamas, but they accidentally killed also Israeli citizens. Now, this was done purposely by the deep state in charge of the Israeli military to demoralize its own soldiers. So that's going on. The Israeli people did go and claim all of the bodies in this area, and they did autopsies on all of them. So they know who is Arab Hamas, who is Israeli, and of the Israelis who was killed by Hamas and who was accidentally killed by the Israeli military. So that's going on. But it was done on purpose by the shadow Israeli military to demoralize their own soldiers. Sun Tzu, Art of War. Understand who is your enemy. So now that's going on. Now we have this also. Underneath, underground, we have the White Hats operating. We have the U.S. military. We have the Israeli military, White Hats operating. And there are thousands of tunnels that they are going through, and it's understood the real Benjamin Netanyahu is also down here along with more mercenaries, and they're tracking him down. When they find him, they're going to kill him. So that's going on. Now, on the surface, we've got the Benjamin Netanyahu double. That's going to be up to the White Hat portions of the Israeli government and the Israeli military on the surface to take this individual down and bring about a coup. So that's going on. Now, we have also in the U.S. this information from Lieutenant Scott Bennett that the Army is putting forth a plan similar to that. They're talking about neutralizing JB. Well, JB's an actor wearing a mask. But bringing about regime change would be no problem, because 90% of the U.S. military is now under the command of our real commander-in-chief, President Trump. So that's going on. Okay. And now we have this from Benjamin Fulford. That's 80... found dating many of these white hat and black hat moves we're seeing on a global basis is that the president of Switzerland has resigned, and that means that the deep state Octagon group is going to go down. This will be brought about by the white hat militaries, and underneath Switzerland they have the WHO, the WEF, plus other global organizations, plus the late Kirsten W. brought out that underground in this area there are 30,000 shadow CIA. And I submit these people are not fully human. So at any rate, that's going on. That's a significant part of the deep state. So the white hats are making moves. Now also something is coming up about India and Pakistan. We know that the deep state is trying to push war. China and Taiwan and the Philippines, Russia and the Baltics, Kosovo, in that area, Sudan. I mean, they're trying, but it's not going well. Well, something's going on in India and Pakistan. All right. Now we have this. Yeah. Okay. And in China, we also have some type of purge going on among the CCP and several deep state families. Yeah. Right. And in the U.S., we can expect the White Hats, and particularly the House of Representatives now, who has a leader put in by the White Hats, Mike Johnson, who I understand is the 45th Speaker of the House, which correlates not to the shadow U.S. government, but correlates to the U.S. Republic. So that's going on. I had Patriot subscribers also bring that up, and that also came out from Underground Patriot. So, okay, things are moving along. And we do have war and rumors of war. Jesus talked about it. John saw it. It's all going by the book. Okay. So now let's move ahead to... Yeah. All right. So what we have in Ukraine, we've got Belarus, Russia, Finland. We've got Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. We've got Kaliningrad. This is a part of Russia, Kaliningrad, Poland, Ukraine. Now, if you look on maps showing the activity going on, all you see are red, Russia, Russia, Russia. We don't have anything. Now, Zelensky is trying to get rid of the formerly trained leader of their military, Zaluzhny, who could run for president and probably be, but Russia's not. I don't believe Russia is going to allow 1 square centimeter of Ukraine to exist. I think Russia is going to take Ukraine border to border because Russia understands they cannot trust NATO, and they don't want NATO on their border. Now, I was also talking about India, Pakistan, and here is Afghanistan. And over the weekend, Taliban from Afghanistan attacked Pakistan and attacked an Air Force base and burned 40 of their jets. So we have to wonder, Taliban terrorists attacked Pakistan at the Bn+Z Air Force Base and destroyed 40 of their jets. I don't know what's going on there, but I would suspect deep state for sure. And now we have this. So my thinking, we've been hearing Russia is getting ready to attack these NATO nations, and that into Kaliningrad over the past week. This is, so we'll say the end of October through November 5. We've seen transport plane after transport plane going into Kaliningrad, taking troops, heavy equipment, and so on. I submit to you, I believe this potential plan for Russia to attack Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, I believe that's a cover story. I believe what Russia is getting ready to do is take Kiev and their underground bunkers also, just like underneath Israel. The White Hats are taking it. And I believe Russia will also take Kiev from Belarus and from Kaliningrad, and then also from this area. So I believe that's going on. Now, in some other news, a African nation, Tunisia, has broken diplomatic ties with Israel. So we see Israel, we see Lebanon, we see Syria, we see Jordan, Iraq, Iran, Yemen, the Houthis, who are a proxy for Iran. We have Hezbollah, who are a proxy for Iran. We have inside Syria, Iran using a Russian Air Force base. So this is going on. Now, we have Israel continuing a genocide against the Palestinian people. They're up to about 9,000, mostly women and children killed. We do have the White Hats operating underneath Israel, as I pointed out. We do have in the Mediterranean Sea, we've got the carrier Ford. I think Eisenhower is down here in the Red Sea. So that's going on. But we have destroyers, we have ships, we have the greatest concentration of U.S. naval military since World War II. So we have in Africa, the nation of Tunisia, breaking off all relations with Israel. We have Honduras recalling their ambassador from Israel, joining similar actions by Bolivia, Chile, and Colombia. And we have this. Okay, so Iran has moved thousands of militia to Syria and also Lebanon. Now, we had that recent speech, I think that was Friday, Nasrallah, the 3 decades long leader of Hezbollah in Lebanon, intimating they were going to attack. We have an alternate view that Iran, now part of the BRICS, really wants to concentrate on building up their nation economically, and that Hezbollah is more engaged in politically managing Lebanon and rebuilding Lebanon. So it appears that these two groups, now we have the Houthis down here lobbing missiles and drones into Israel. So I'm submitting here that much of what we're seeing may be for show. Now, we've heard that the Iraqi resistance is also attacking U.S. military bases in Iraq and also in Syria. But what we're hearing in terms of damage, we're hearing 0 deaths. We are hearing that some U.S. military have been wounded. We're not hearing about a lot of damage. So it may be that a lot of what we're hearing is not happening. On the other hand, it could be. So we'll see. What my perception is that the U.S. military, the White Hats, are going to help the Israeli people and the Israeli military to clean their government. And then we know inside the U.S., as Lieutenant Scott Bennett pointed out, a move against the current government. Now, JB, the actor wearing a mask, has the potential of being removed from office by being impeached based on the very real charges against the passed away flesh and blood JB. So I think we, the people of the world, can see this move and that move all to manipulate populations, but especially we who are close to God can ask God, keep us so, Father, what's going on here? So that's going on. I believe that the Israeli military appears to be engaging in genocide. We have no way of verifying whether these numbers are true or not because all communication in Palestine has been shut down. So I submit that we, the people, see these military moves, deployments, ships, planes, and I think a lot of people are being neutralized, but we can hope and pray that it's the right people, those who do not want peace and prosperity for all peoples of the world. So a short prayer. I'll use General Patton's World War II prayer. Father, grant us good weather for battle. Guide us from victory to victory and crush our enemies, domestic, foreign, and off-world. And we thank you, God the Father, God the Son, Jesus, whom many call Yeshua, and God the Holy Spirit. And I say to my family and friends, remain steady out there. Continue to pray. God is in charge, and He is on the move. I love you, and I'll see you soon.